Meeting to order. If everybody could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. If we could please keep the Kelch and McCann families in your prayers. Roll call.
It's not up. "15 present, with members Groves Allison, member Renault, and member Rosenbaum absent."
Next, is there a motion for the approval of the January 9th, 25 minutes? Member Alsasser, member Daley. Please move and please second on your pad. Yep. She might have to refresh. Mine's up.
Did you hit it? There it is.
Brian, you need to hit the move if you haven't, and member Daley needs to second it if you haven't. Okay.
I don't have a second. No.
Member Daley was the second. Did you hit second on yours? Okay.
It's, okay. Did you have a question? You raised your hand. Okay, looks like I got everyone. "15 ayes, 0 nays."
Can you get it to go on the screens?
Oh, I'm sorry. Could you hit that so it goes on the screen? I wasn't paying attention.
Minutes passed. Next, we're at proclamations and presentations. This might be a first. No proclamations or presentations. Next, we're at citizens' remarks. We have one citizen remarks, and that is Clark Abraham. Come up to the microphone, Clark, and you'll have 5 minutes.
Hi, I'm Clark Abraham. I'm here on behalf of the Peoria chapter of Sierra Club to speak out for pro-wind energy and property rights. I think it's a good idea that we bring in renewable energy into the economy of the county, boosting our local economy, helping our local school districts, and in general, the economy for everybody in the county. And that's really about all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, that would bring us to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to put that on the floor? Member Blair, member Bryant. Is there anything that would like to be pulled? Member Alsasser? Member Alsasser move to remove 813, the appointments. Is there anything else that would be like to be moved? Seeing none. It's not up on the computers yet. It's what Member Blair needed to move and Member Bryant needed to hit second.
She did.
Okay.
I have her listed.
Please record your vote. And then for those that are either watching at home or have not been to a meeting, this is new software for us, so it is working well, but we're still working through some things.
Yes, you did. Okay. I think I got everyone.
You want me to announce them?
As soon as it goes up there. 15 ayes. Motion passes.
So next we would be to the appointments. Member Alsasser, what do you move for? Yep. Is there a second? Member Ricker? Member Alsasser?
And then I would like to pull off Robert Whelan from the Agriculture Committee, because we're going to have someone else that we're going to put on there eventually. And I would like to add County Board Member Danny Phelan to the Illinois Association of Counties.
Thank you, Member Alsasser. Appreciate you reaching out too for the Ag Committee. Appreciate Member Phelan agreeing to go on a committee also. Any other comments? Seeing none, please vote.
So you're voting on the amendment first, and then...
The amended, yes,
Yeah.
and then we'll vote twice here. So move for the amended version of the appointments.
You move to amend it, and then I don't have to second it.
Well, technically, so we need to, he moved it to start it,
Right?
and then
He proposed
Steve
it,
proposed, seconded it, so then
and then
Member
you
Alsasser will need a motion
to amend.
to amend. Would you like to agree to the amendment too, Mr. Ricker? Okay, and Steve will agree to the second. So this, please vote on the amended version.
You vote on the amendment, and then you vote on it as amended.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
We're going to,
You just have to hit the 8.13 chairman appointment, right?
no, we're gonna have to do this twice. You'll get another one.
The last one will have to be a voice vote because I cannot add anything to the agenda.
The software would allow for it.
So the amended,
We got 14 ayes and 1 nay.
one abstention, right? No?
1 nay, 1 abstention. Chairman appointments.
Member Daley didn't vote.
Member Daley, how would you like to vote? 15 ayes, 0 nays.
Now we'll be doing a roll call as amended for the appointments. Any comments? Yeah.
Members Blair? Aye. Bryant?
Aye.
Coates?
Aye.
Daly?
Aye.
Chairman Dillon?
Aye.
Duncan?
Aye.
Elsasser? Aye. Kelch? Phelan?
Aye.
Ricker?
Aye.
Rulin? Salzer?
Aye.
Williams? Windisch? And McCann? Fifteen ayes. But it's going to be the same. Next will be at zoning ordinances and resolutions. Item number 9.1, zoning case ZBA 2025-0004, petition of Trent Overview, a special request from section 20-5.8.2.4.a of the Unified Development Ordinance, which allows for the mini storage facilities in the C2 General Commercial Zoning District. The petitioner proposes to convert existing retail space into indoor mini storage, as well as construct a new outdoor mini storage bay.
Member Williams, Member Elsasser. Is there comments on this petition? So this is, Member Rosenbaum is not here, but this was amended at committee to not allow the outdoor storage that was proposed. With the petitioner was not available at that time, and we cannot introduce new information for that. So it was just shown on a sketch of what it was going to be and not any, so we did say that it could go back to committee for that. So this is as amended with just the indoor storage, not the outdoor storage, for clarification. Okay, no questions? Seeing none, please vote.
Fifteen ayes. Item number 2 is 9.2, zoning case ZBA 2025-0005, petition of Allen Solar LLC, a special use request from section 20-5.2.2.2.h of the Unified Development Ordinance. This section allows for a special use in the A2 Agricultural Zoning District for a commercial solar energy facility, provided that the conditions in section 7.17, ground-mounted solar energy equipment, of these regulations are met.
Is there a motion for approval? Member Daly, Member Phelan. Comments? Member Rulin.
For those of you that were at the Land Use Committee, this will be a repeat, but through no fault of Director Braun or the zoning office, there was a huge communication gap from the city of Chillicothe on this proposal. They also lack an up-to-date comprehensive plan. I've made a couple of efforts in the meantime since that meeting to correct those two things so it doesn't happen again. Unfortunately, for Chillicothe, it's water under the bridge. This solar farm, first of all, for any of you that know me, know that I'm a big supporter of alternative energy. I just think this one is cited very poorly for the future of Chillicothe. Our boundaries, we have to the north a viaduct, a rail facility that we can't really develop beyond. We have a river to the east, and we have Three Sisters Park to the south. It has been, for a long time, it has been the understanding among Chillicothe leadership that our growth is solely to the west. They just spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in the attempt to stop a gravel pit from opening on their west boundary, which was not a fruitful effort. I'm going to vote against this, not because I'm against solar power. Like I said, for those of you who know me, know that I would typically support that. But it closes one more door for our growth in the future. So, again, water under the bridge, I'm going to vote against it because I know that's the right thing to do for my community.
Other comments? Member Williams.
I would like Andrew, if he could, clarify this, because this project is going forward, right? It's
So
already.
I was going to touch on those
Yes,
points
okay.
so maybe I'll touch on them, and if you need more clarification, or Andrew. So there's a few different things
Right.
that make this case unique. So this was originally cited, and the petitioner, Paul, who has testified, is here tonight. So if there are questions of the petitioner that was presented at the case. So this was originally a case from 2018 that we cited. So this is proceeding whether we do anything or not at 4 megawatts. Really the question is on this rezoning is whether to allow it to from 4 megawatts to be 5 megawatts. Because the 4 megawatts were approved in 2018. And the way the legislation and some of the programming works allow them to put more megawatts on the site. But the way our ordinances had read, they just need approval to go up to that next ordinance. This ordinance does include 3 new special uses, which are good special uses moving forward, and all solar projects will have those going forward. So right now, solar that we did in 2018, that is perpetual, has that zoning. We cannot undo that. But now on these new ones, this project will have 3 years to build, and if not, they will lose their special use. The other good thing that was included now is AES has owned this since 2018, but some of the other developers that have come made promises, met with community members, no longer own these. And they've sold them 2, 3, I think potentially 4 times, never notifying anybody. So we have stopped being able to sell, that the developer that applies for that must be the developer that does that within the 3-year period. And so then the other thing to address in there was a special use of staff time has been used to have to chase down of not knowing who owns it, is that they need to notify us of the bond or the requirements of who owns that on a yearly basis. And those are the 3 extra special uses, and if they are in violation of those, then the special use can be pulled. So those are 3 good lessons learned from lessons in 2018 that should be able to protect moving forward. So hopefully that clarifies to the board some of the clarifications that came out of ZBA. I don't know if I missed anything, Andrew, or if I'm happy to answer any questions, or Andrew or the petitioner are also here if need be. Member Elsasser.
So did you say going forward that within 3 years they cannot resell it to someone else? Is that what you said?
So they have to file for building permits within 3 years.
Okay.
And if they have not filed within 3 years for building permits, the special use on the property disappears and they would have to refile. If they choose to want to sell it to another developer, that is not a transferable license. The new developer would have to come back in and apply for that special use. Now, if a company gets bought entirely, the new company can own that LLC. But what was happening is each one of these are individual LLCs that are created, and the LLC would be sold, which would basically be that 20 acres or 30 acres that they would propose. So we're not going to allow these to be sold. The developer that comes in here and testifies at the hearing of what they're going to do will have to be the developer that builds that project. And these are lessons learned from 2018 when this all started and we approved 40 some of these projects. We were probably too loose in our requirements, but this lessons learned from time, because we're sitting on, I think, 8 have been developed, Andrew, or?
We have 4 operational. I think we have another 7 or 8 that have been permitted and are in the development phase.
And we've approved over 40, so we have, say, another 30 or 25 plus that are sitting out there that have this perpetual zoning on it. Some will probably never be developed just because others will be, but that's too far of a time frame out there.
I think that was a very good decision to put that in the ordinance, because like the other day, we were offered X amount for so many acres of solar, and somebody said to us, well, they're just going to resell it within a year or two anyway. So, I mean, we're not going to take it or anything, but I'm just saying that that kind of closes up that loophole. So I appreciate that. But I did want to ask Mr. Rulin, is Sycamore Street one of the streets by the high school, or pretty close to the high school?
Runs along the north boundary of the high school and all the way out to, well, for you it'd be Joe Fogg's farm.
Okay.
So you'd understand where that is, Kraus Road.
Right. And so how far is it from the high school then? Like, is it like a half a mile or a quarter of a mile?
I would say it's probably within 3/4 of a mile. Maybe it's a half to 3/4, pretty close. And it's 260 feet from the closest residence, this parcel.
And what's our setback for solar from residential dwellings?
So those would be questions for Mr. Braun on the setback. And if we need to show a map, we do have a map.
150 feet to a non-participating residence.
Okay.
Mr. Assessor.
Okay. And then I wanted to ask Mr. Rulin also if the city of Chillicothe weighed in on this at all. I know you said that there was some miscommunication and different things, but
It wasn't a miscommunication. It was a communication gap. They did not reply to Andrew's request.
okay.
Even though they do have a jurisdictional control in a mile and a half, they certainly had the opportunity to do that. But again, I've tried to make some connections at City Hall so that doesn't happen again.
Okay. Thanks for that clarification.
Member Ricker, did you have a question?
Yeah, just for clarification on change of ownership, what I think I hear, and I just want to be clear, is the use agreement for development cannot be transferred to a new owner, but once it's developed and commissioned and operational, then the solar farm can be sold to future owners, and that's where the reporting would come in. Once a year, we're asking for a report as to who owns the operating farm. Is that
Correct.
okay?
Right, Andrew?
Yeah, we're looking for contact information. We run into a situation with several of these projects where staff is not getting information in a timely fashion, and so through adding it as a restriction, we feel that it just gets more teeth to it.
So Steve, it's actually a good point from council. The ordinance hasn't changed. These are special uses at the end, conditions that we've put on the property to be met. So these are extra special uses that we've added. Restrictions.
Restrictions that will be recorded with the recorder of deeds, County Clerk.
I guess I need a little more clarity on the annual communication. So is that only during the development, or once the it's commissioned and operating, does that requirement for communicating the current owner, is that when the requirement comes in?
It's for the lifetime of the approval and the project.
Because they'll have to put up a bond for decommissioning and the decommissioning status. So we do need to know who the owner is. And we've ran into this on a couple of different scenarios where I think planning and zoning has had to call because we didn't even know, the original owner did not even know who owned it now from where they were being built because it had been sold again. So ideally for fire department purposes, after the fact, for leading up to this, it would be nice to know who actually is owning and controlling the property.
So what's our enforcement if they do not communicate? Do we have any enforcement, or is it a nice to have? I don't know if you understand.
After it's built, I don't know what the enforcement would be, but prior to that, there is enforcement because you would need to do that to keep your restrictions.
Okay. Prior to that, they would have to reapply, correct? Could you put,
They still have the right to sell the property. The permit doesn't go with it. So if they sell it before it's developed, the new owner has to register because they're going to come in to get a permit. They have to get a permit. So there's no chance that you could not know who it is. If they put a spade in the ground, they've got a permit. So you can sell, that's I think the point you might be missing is they can sell it, but they can't sell the permit.
yeah, and that's why I was asking for clarification on the perpetual communication of who owns it. What enforcement do we have? So it's up and it's operating, it's commissioned, and future owners coming by just as normal, but we can't pull their special use at that point. I mean, the special use is done, right? It's approved. So do we have any enforcement that would hold the future owners accountable to provide an annual update to planning and zoning?
Again, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Andrew can clarify, but their special use would no longer exist if they violate any of the conditions. So the special use is only good as to Allen Solar LLC. So if they transfer the property to someone else, the special use no longer is valid. And if they don't give us contact information every year, the special use is no longer valid. Now, what Andrew's group does, if someone is operating a special use without a special use designation, that, I mean, I'd have to look in the ordinance, but maybe Andrew can speak to that.
Right, they would be in violation of Chapter 20 of the Peoria County Code. We would send them a violation letter, we'd place a stop work order on the property, and then they'd go through the appropriate channels, which ultimately involves the hearing officer, fines, and potential liens on the property. So there are financial penalties.
But that's during the development. I guess I'm trying to, once it's operating, do we have the right to pull the special use away and does that mean we order them to shut down operations and discontinue? I don't know what it means. I guess I'm struggling as to what's the enforcement?
Stop work orders would be while there's construction going on, but if the project is up and operational, and let's say they don't update their contact information every year, that's when there would be violations, and they'd go through the hearing officer and go through code violations like anyone else would, and there'd be the penalties and fines and whatever else the hearing officer has under his or her purview to penalize them with.
Okay, so it's code violations at that point. It's not a violation of special use at that.
It is a violation of the special use that would be a code violation, and like Andrew said, you could have liens put on the property and that sort of thing. The code enforcement officer, any judgment that they render usually is accompanied by a lien on the real estate that gets recorded in the land records.
Okay, so we do have I'll call it an enforcement process. That's what I was trying to understand. So thank you.
Yeah, and Andrew, obviously jump in if I misstated anything.
Yeah, I agree with that. We would treat it the same as a violation of any use on any property and go through our hearing officer process. there's substantial fines that are available to the hearing officer to assess. When those fines reach a specific number, then we work with the state's attorney's office to file a lien against the property.
Okay.
Other questions? Seeing none, please vote.
Member Bryant? You can just tell me how you like to vote if it's not one. Aye? Okay. Not to rush you or anything. Okay. Motion carried with 13 ayes and 2 nays, with members Couch and Ruin voting nay. Next is item 9.3. Financial support for the Joint City-County Solid Waste Committee. A joint resolution from your County Health Committee and your Finance, Audit, and Legislative Affairs Committee recommending approval of an amendment to the FY25 budget in the amount of $300,000 for the purpose of operational support to the Peoria City-County Landfill Committee pursuant to provisions in an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Peoria dated January 15th, 1997.
Member Williams, Member Blair. Questions, comments? Seeing none, please vote.
Member Alsasser? Okay, how would you like to vote?
I should know that.
There it goes. All right. Motion carries with 15 ayes. Next, we'd be at miscellaneous and announcements.
So we'll start on your side, Member Alsasser. Oh, everybody's in a hurry to get out of here.
Yeah.
Nothing? Anything, Administrator?
Just a reminder, Mr. Chairman, everybody should have gotten a meeting request to hold the morning of Saturday, March 22nd for strategic planning on your schedules. We're finalizing a location, so we will update the meeting request once the location is finalized.
And I haven't in the last few meetings, but for the sake of it, wanted to recognize the presence. Dan Hines had asked where they were not speaking, but to recognize the fact that the group representing Brimfield and No Windmills was here. So I have not done that the last couple of meetings, so I do just want to recognize the fact that the group was here. Anything else under miscellaneous? If not, Member Rulon.
I just want to take a second to single out Megan Bentley. This voting system, still a few little wrinkles, but I was in Florida, 1,300 miles away, for the committee meetings last week. I voted on my iPad. It worked flawlessly, and it is light years ahead of where we were with the previous system, and I think that's in large part due to Megan.
Thank you, Member Ruin. Agree, as board secretary or administrative, Megan has been fantastic. Member Alsasser?
I guess I should mention, because it's going to be before our next board meeting, the Farm Bureau breakfast is on March the 8th. And so I didn't realize it was coming up that soon. It just shows how much we farmers really get. We don't get very much out of the, that's why we're so poor. So.
All right, seeing none, meeting adjourned.